I am Daniel Lucas, and welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He's a leadership consultant, enabling organizations and people to be their best. No other than Mr. Christopher Sprague.
Daniel, thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
Welcome to Book 101, Mr. Christopher. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
Absolutely. So, I'm CEO, co-founder of the Enluma Leadership Group, where we're focusing on inspirational leadership and helping people be their best. I'm bringing decades of experience of leading transformations in Fortune 100 companies, and what I found historically was the groups that really achieved incredible results are the ones that were inspired, and they were able to achieve incredible results repeatedly in a healthy way. People weren't burnt out. You didn't chew through them, but yet that was one of my key learnings that led to formation of the Enluma Leadership Group, and also the research and insights into our book, Lead Without Limits.
Mr. Christopher Sprague, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. And today let's talk about the leadership reset, why old school leadership is failing, and what works now. What specific old school leadership practices, Mr. Christopher, are most harmful in today's hybrid work era, and why?
Oh, there is the old school approach of, if anything goes wrong, I'm going to slam my fist, I'm going to yell and say, Daniel, this is not how we work. Get it done, fix this, do it right. But the challenge with that is then as a leader, you get just enough. You get just enough from people that they make you happy, or just enough from people that they make you go away. And in a lot of ways, what happens is you manipulate people through anxiety and fear as opposed to motivate people. And one of the reasons this is not going to work in the future is we're seeing a shift in the younger generations that are actually the fastest growing population of our workforce. There's a shift towards meaning in work. They want to have meaning and impact in their work, not just to come in and collect a paycheck, but have meaning. Live Career in 2023 did a study of 1,200 Gen Z workers, and they found actually that 72% said that they would take a pay cut if they had a job that had more meaning and more impact. So that's one of the reasons that this old school approach is not going to work. The other piece, we need to have an honest conversation with ourselves, because this old school command and control type leadership, it embraces and encourages mediocrity. And, if that's what leaders are going for, hey, knock yourself out. But if you want excellence, if you want people to really engage and give their best, you need to have a different approach. And Daniel, if I may, can I give a quick example?
Go ahead, Mr.
So,
Christopher.
if let's say you and I are an executive leadership team for, a medium-sized company, and we have an IT project that's running behind. The old school leadership would say, this is unacceptable, get it done, we don't operate like this. Now, what they're really saying is, I don't believe you, I'm not going to help, and I don't really care. That really encourages mediocrity. But if you flip it, if I, as the sponsor of the project, say, you know what, I'm sure no one's happy about this, but this is a critical project. Let's take the time to really understand this and come back in a week with a plan and a thorough understanding of what's going on. What's going to happen is that team is now going to come back and say, you know what, Chris is really looking for us to solve this. He wants us to make a difference and have this be really impactful and turn this around. So what's going to happen in option B is people are going to be motivated. they're going to really be energized to fix it and do it right. Option A, when I'm being chewed out, I make sure that my dashboard the next month is all green. Everything looks good, even though behind the scenes I may be cutting corners or ignoring issues just to make the sponsor happy. So that's a great illustration of how the old school command and control, really tough leadership really drives mediocrity, and it does not drive excellence. And we need to be honest with ourselves and have a good discussion about that.
You argue that traditional models are failing. What's the most glaring system of this breakdown you observe?
Most glaring breakdown. I would say the attrition that you're seeing in a lot of companies. A lot of companies, what you'll hear senior leadership say is, well, new workers aren't loyal. They don't commit to a company, but they don't ask the question of why aren't they staying? So there's this stubbornness, this obstinance to continue to cling to the old school approaches when in fact you're losing talent. So I would say that, to me, that's the biggest example where you're seeing that turnover and senior leadership is not accepting the reason why there's turnover. I would say that's one of the biggest examples.
Did the pandemic act as a catalyst exposing the flaws in conventional leadership?
Oh, that's a wonderful question, because on the one hand, I think a lot of people really challenge themselves to say, what's really important to me? I think there is also an element of understanding our impermanence, that things will not last forever. So people really said, what are they going to put up with? What are they not going to put up with? But in the same regards, because of the pandemic, people were pushed to just go from meeting to meeting to meeting. And the demands, I would tell you, have increased since the pandemic. So on one end, leadership is absolutely under even more stress since the pandemic, of more pressure, more impact. And then on the other end of that, the pandemic really challenged people to think about what's truly important to them, the work that they want to have, the impact that they want to have, the legacy that they want to leave. And that really, I think, exacerbated old school leadership in a number of ways.
Sure. Let's talk about your Lead Without Limits. Can you tell us about this book of yours?
Absolutely. So, Daniel, I would tell you I am a leadership nerd. I just really enjoy reading leadership books, but I got to a point where I got tired of reading about Fortune 500 CEOs, because there's so many books about Fortune 500 CEOs. By my math, there's only going to be 500 Fortune 500 CEOs. So the majority of us are not going to do that. The other thing is, I did not want to read another book that was 300 or 400 pages about one specific element of leadership. So my thought was, we needed a book that really clarifies what it means to be an inspirational leader, one who is able to achieve incredible results in a healthy and sustainable way. And the other element is, I wanted a book that people could walk away with clear actions. Because so many books you read and you think, oh, that was interesting, there are some great stories, but I don't know what to do. That's not what we wanted to do. So we've actually integrated a workbook in the back, so people can come away with clear actions. And the other element here is, we interviewed and surveyed over 420 people about inspirational leadership. And how we define inspirational leadership is, if your actions inspire others to dream more, learn more, do more, and become more, you're an inspirational leader. So from there, we surveyed over 400 people to ask, have you ever been a recipient of inspirational leadership? i.e., if you're dreaming more, learning more, doing more, become more, you're more likely to be engaged, and you're more likely to be happy, because we know people are happier when they're growing and learning on their job. So we investigated that. We found 4 core elements of inspirational leadership. But then, based on experience, we asked the question of, well, hold on a second. What about if you're an individual contributor? What about if you're a people leader having direct reports? Or you lead an organization where there's multiple levels of people reporting into you? In that regards, your fundamental goal is different. If you're working with peers, it's how can you be an exceptional collaborator? How can you help other people to be their best? If you're working with a team of direct reports, how do you challenge them to be very effective individually and collectively? And finally, with inspiring an organization, where is the organization going in the next few years? And what is the enabling culture to get you there? Because companies that look at culture and strategy together are 40% more likely to exceed their revenue targets. So there's something magical there that we need to tie into. And what's cool about the book is because we talk about leading your peers, it's everybody. This is not just people leaders. This is not just senior leaders. It's everybody, because it all starts with how you lead yourself and your peers. So we're really excited. We've got some really great feedback and good reviews so far, and just happy to share more about the book and what we're trying to achieve.
And congratulations for sharing your lead without limits to the world. What does it mean to lead without limit, and how is this philosophy different from other leadership models?
Yeah, no, that's fair. To lead without limits, there is a sense of humility that leaders have to have, where you're looking for the best solutions, you're looking for the best opportunities, and it's looking and driving towards an aspirational future. So we tried to, in the book, to have 4 clear elements, not 20, not 25. So we wanted it very applied. That's one difference. The other difference is, like I mentioned, this looks at not just people leadership and organizational leadership, but how you lead and inspire your peers. So it's very comprehensive. And then another benefit of this is because we talk about peers, then direct reports and organizations, there's a development path here of setting expectations of how can I work to be better in a role that I don't have yet today. So just some differences related to our model versus other models. And yeah, just excited because it's very applicable and we want people to come away with very tangible actions. We've also shared real world stories too. So one thing I'll share with you, Daniel, is because I've had the opportunity to lead, I'm not a researcher, I'm not a historical consultant. I know what it's like to have your name at the top of an org chart. I know the pressure that's there. I know all of the pieces that come around it. So our goal is to, with this book, is make it very clear and help people who are navigating that maze in those channels today.
Well, thank you for guidance. And what's the defining moment or inspiration that led you to create a framework for limitless leadership?
Daniel, the leadership experience that I had was in 2016. And prior to that, I had primarily seen the old school leadership that we were talking about. But I was given the opportunity to lead a transformation for a call center. It was about 160 people, so it was a good-sized call center, not huge. But there were 4 groups, one that talked to patients, one that talked to service providers, another that talked to doctors, and another that was pharmacists and pharm techs. And they really did not work well together. The 4 teams didn't have great metrics. The culture was absolutely terrible. The worst I've ever seen. So what I learned is that I didn't know hardly anything about call centers when I took that role. So I had to come from a place of curiosity and learn and understand. So what we did was we did a listening campaign. We talked to everybody. And I mean everybody. One-on-ones, small groups, got feedback. And then based on their feedback, we then made improvements based in the organization that really helped to build trust with the organization. We also realized that we needed to focus in on our supervisors because they just hadn't had the opportunity to really learn what leadership meant and the value of leadership. So on top of that, we also did end-to-end process optimization, where we looked at start to finish how the process worked and really looked across those 4 groups. We also elevated our financial acumen. And then the last piece, which directly correlates to the book, is we built a multi-year plan with the team. We got their feedback. And Daniel, the reason I bring this up is the impact we had. In 2 years, those 4 groups all then had performance targets, and they were exceeding their targets. We cut $5 million out of the budget. We also got our engagement scores from 57% positive to 76 in the course of 2 years, which is unheard of. So it just shows you can achieve incredible results and do it in a way that's sustainable. So from there, that was really one of the driving factors for me to say, you know what? There's better ways of doing this. There's more impactful ways of doing this. And I want to put this in a book, create a consulting firm, and really help clients to do this. Because once you do it once, it's very addictive. And to have those type of results and to see other results like that with other projects and other clients, it's incredibly rewarding.
Mr. Christopher, as a leadership consultant, an author, and as well as entrepreneur, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
Yeah, no, thank you for asking that question, Daniel. So short-term is establishing Luma. With the book, with consulting. Our longer term actually is we really want to challenge the way leadership development functions today. In a lot of ways, there's workshops, there's consultants, there's resources that are available. But when you think of, say, even small and medium businesses, there is a huge underserved population out there that has a hunger for leadership development, but that cannot get it. So what we're looking at is, in our book, we've built out 360 type leadership assessments for how you inspire your peers, how you inspire direct reports, and how you inspire an organization. And then we're partnering with a AI firm. So what you would do is you go in, leverage our tool, get the assessments, get stakeholder feedback, get peer feedback, direct reports, organizational. And then you'd have an AI coach that would help you to address and improve your scores. In addition to that, we'd have courses that are available that you can take on demand. In addition to that, we'd also look at development planning so people can grow as leaders and get great insights leveraging AI. So longer term plans is we see a huge opportunity by combining our analytics with AI to really reach a lot of clients and help a lot of people grow. And ultimately, long term, that is something we're very excited about.
Good luck to your goals and looking forward for more success. And what will be your piece of advice for those people out there who want to be like you?
You know, I would say put your mind to it. Think about what you really want, what's really important to you, and what's the impact that you want to have. Because ultimately, we all have to figure out what is the impact that we want to have with the time that we have. And if you think about it that way, then it becomes clear. It becomes where you should focus your efforts, your time, and your energy, and how you can be more fulfilled. And sometimes there's things that are worth more than money. So, Daniel, thank you for this opportunity to be on the podcast. I really appreciate it.
You are most welcome. This podcast is created for you. And can you please recommend a book or books that influence your journey?
Oh, absolutely. John C. Maxwell, Your Roadmap to Success. Another great one is Change Your Questions, Change Your Life. Love that book. Coaching Habit is absolutely terrific. I'm sure a lot of people have heard of the Coaching Habit, but Change Your Questions, Change Your Life by Laura Lee Adams is a fabulous book to approach life with curiosity as opposed to judgment. And it helped me a lot, and it really helped me along my journey.
Thank you for that recommended books. How is the definition of effective leadership campaign or changing in today's remote, hybrid, fast-paced world?
Yeah, in the hybrid world, we're realizing that with leadership, that relationships are so important. Connections are so important. So in a hybrid world, you have to have intentionality to build those relationships, to build those connections. Because, Daniel, you and I may be sitting in different countries. We can't have those hallway conversations that if we were co-located. So leadership needs to think about those connections with their teams, with their other people, so they can build those relationships. Because otherwise, we've seen historically that remote workers are more likely to be disengaged. So it requires intentionality. It requires effort to make sure that you have engagement, but also you have good connections and relationships with your people. So that it's something that requires a lot of time and energy, but ultimately you put the effort in, you'll be happy that you did it.
Very well said. Truly, truly empowering. What leadership skills do you believe will be the most critical for success in the next 5 to 10 years?
I would say humility. Humility. Some people, we need to step back and make sure we understand the difference between responsibilities and importance. Our paycheck is determined by our responsibilities, not our importance. When you forget that, if you lose that humility, then what happens, you run the risk that people are then starting to provide or present ideas to you that make you happy as opposed to what are the best solutions. So that humility also, if you see yourself, the Dalai Lama was asked one time, why is he so humble as a leader of the millions of Buddhists around on the planet? And he said, I'm just one of the 8 billion. If more leaders can have that mindset, I'm just one team member of this organization, that is powerful, because then you start to see other people's problems as equal to yours. You want to understand what's going on. You're more likely to see challenges that could disrupt your strategy or your future direction. So I would say that humility is so incredibly important. And to have that going forward and not fake it, because you can't really fake it, but to have that people see it and they really truly appreciate that.
Humility indeed. And how does lead without limit prepare leaders to handle complex modern challenges like managing diverse terms or teams and navigating uncertainty?
Yeah, part of with Lead Without Limits, we talk about navigating the future, to have a clear future defined, but also the enabling culture. And with that enabling culture, you have to set the tone as a leader of how you deal with adversity. Because ultimately, challenging times are what truly define a leader, not the great times. So if you set that tone during adversity and you're calm and focused, not saying that everything's great when everything's not, but if you're focused and you're resolute that you're going to overcome issues, you're going to overcome challenges, that will help you to deal with adversity. Because, like it or not, the whole organization is looking at how the leader responds, whoever is in charge, and they will follow that cue. If the leader loses their composure and becomes angry or starts blaming people, well, the organization is going to do that too. But if the leader is calm and during times of difficulty, they're going to follow suit. And to have that calm, quiet confidence is hugely powerful in tough times. So I would say it's that aspect of leadership that will really help people in the future and going forward.
Totally empowering. So, what is one small but impactful step someone can take this week to start investing to their own leadership development?
Yeah, I think the one step they can take is thinking about what they can achieve together as opposed to individually. With your peers, with the direct team, just think about how I can work collectively better with my team or my peers, and then what can we achieve if we work really well together. Taking that collective view as opposed to the individual view can really provide a different and powerful lens for people that can be very impactful.
Truly, truly impactful, Mr. Christopher. And before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please listen to my other podcast, people. My other podcast, because my abstract essay is already in 5th season, abstract poetry in 2nd season, and my book 101 review in 5th season too, comedy 101 in 2nd season, and my food 101 in 5th season as well, geography 101 in 4th season, and my baby podcast law 101 and Mental Health 101, Love Letters in 3rd season, and Movie 101, Review and Music 101 in its 4th season, and Science 101 and Sex 101 in its 1st season. Please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. Christopher, if you could leave our audience or viewers with one mantra or principle to embody the lead without limit mindset, what would it be?
Approach life with curiosity. Curiosity to wonder what's possible, curiosity to wonder what may be wrong or what's not working well. If you approach life with curiosity, that is powerful.
Indeed, a curiosity, people. Who knows, you will be the next Einstein. Mr. Christopher Sprague, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. So can you please invite our listeners to support your business, your advocacy, or your book itself?
Yeah, absolutely. Feel free to reach out on LinkedIn for lumagroup.com. Also, www.inlumagroup.com. We can connect with you there, or you can reach out and schedule a session. Happy to talk and happy to help people grow as they develop as inspirational leaders.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Christopher Sprague, because if you support him, for sure, more and more and more empowering leaders to come. More and more empowering books to come. So, Mr. Christopher, thank you so much for your time.
Yeah, thank you so much, Daniel. Really appreciate it.
More to come, people. See you soon.